A strip of land, a sea of troubles. The Philadelphi route. The Philadelphi route, a narrow strip of land along the Gaza-Egypt border, has become a focal point of tension in the volatile Middle East. This seemingly insignificant stretch of land holds immense strategic importance, representing a flashpoint for conflict with potentially global ramifications. Understanding the complexities surrounding the Philadelphi route is crucial for comprehending the broader dynamics at play in the region. The route's history is intertwined with the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, adding layers of complexity to an already intricate situation. An Israeli security dilemma, or the occupation's ambitions? Israel views the Philadelphi route as a critical buffer zone, crucial for preventing the smuggling of weapons and militants into Gaza. The route's proximity to the Rafah crossing, Gaza's only non-Israeli controlled entry and exit point, makes it a strategic choke point. Controlling this corridor allows Israel to isolate the Gaza Strip from Egypt, and further cements its control on Gaza and its population. The presence of Hamas, which controls Gaza and is Israel's most powerful adversary in the Palestinian territories, further motivates Israel to occupy the border region. Israel hopes that maintained control over the Gaza-Egypt border region would help it dismantle Hamas's governance ability of the Gaza Strip and prevent it from regrouping in the region. Israel argues that maintaining a security presence along the route is vital to prevent Hamas from acquiring weapons and launching attacks against it. However, Israel's control of the Philadelphi route comes at a cost. Critics argue that it tightens the grip on Gaza, further isolating the already beleaguered population and hindering economic development. The restrictions on the movement of goods and people imposed by Israel's security measures exacerbate the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, fueling resentment and despair among Palestinians. Furthermore, Israel cannot indefinitely act in a manner claiming that is safeguarding its security at the expense of the humanitarian needs of the Palestinian population. Finding a sustainable solution requires addressing both concerns simultaneously. Ignoring one at the expense of the other will only perpetuate the cycle of violence and instability that has plagued the region for decades. Egypt's nightmare terrorism and tribal unrest in the Sinai. Egypt faces its own set of challenges in the Sinai Peninsula, further complicating the situation surrounding the Philadelphi route. The vast and sparsely populated Sinai has become a haven for extremist groups, who exploit the region's lawlessness and porous borders to operate with relative impunity. These groups, some with alleged links to ISIS, pose a direct threat to Egyptian security and regional stability. The Sinai is also home to a complex tapestry of Bedouin tribes, many of whom harbor historical grievances against the Egyptian government. The tribes, marginalized and often overlooked by Cairo, have grown increasingly restive in recent years. Their discontent, fueled by economic marginalization and perceived discrimination, has manifested in sporadic uprisings and clashes with security forces. The presence of extremist groups and the simmering discontent among the Bedouin tribes create a volatile mix in the Sinai. The Egyptian military, tasked with maintaining order in this challenging environment, faces an uphill battle. The threat of terrorism, coupled with the potential for tribal unrest, necessitates a robust security presence, straining Egypt's resources and demanding constant vigilance. The situation in the Sinai is further complicated by the threat of an influx of refugees fleeing the conflict in Gaza. The porous border between Gaza and Egypt allows for the movement of people and goods, but it also provides opportunities for smuggling and infiltration by militant groups. Egypt, already grappling with its own security challenges, is wary of becoming further embroiled in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Caught in the crossfire, the Sinai's diverse and discontented population. The Sinai Peninsula, often overlooked in discussions about the Middle East, is home to a diverse population with its own unique set of concerns. The Bedouin tribes, the region's original inhabitants, have long felt marginalized by the Egyptian government, their traditional way of life disrupted by modernization, and their voices often ignored in Cairo. The Bedouins, traditionally nomadic herders and traders, have seen their livelihoods threatened by border closures, restrictions on movement, and the encroachment of development projects. Their traditional grazing lands have been confiscated and their access to resources curtailed. This sense of dispossession has fueled resentment and distrust towards the government, creating fertile ground for extremist ideologies to take root. In addition to the Bedouins, the Sinai is also home to a growing population of Egyptians drawn to the region by economic opportunities, particularly in the tourism industry. This influx of outsiders has further strained relations with the Bedouins, who view them as competitors for scarce resources and a threat to their cultural identity. The Sinai's population is caught in a web of competing interests and aspirations. The Bedouins yearn for recognition, respect for their cultural heritage, and a greater say in their own affairs. The Egyptian government, grappling with security threats and economic challenges, struggles to balance the needs of the Bedouins with its own national priorities. Finding a way to address the concerns of all stakeholders is essential for achieving lasting peace and stability in the region. Section 5. The economic cost of conflict, a bleak outlook for Egypt. The ongoing instability in the Sinai Peninsula has taken a heavy toll on Egypt's economy, particularly its vital tourism industry. The Sinai, once a magnet for tourists seeking sun, sand, and ancient history, has seen visitor numbers plummet in recent years due to security concerns and the threat of terrorism. The decline in tourism has had a ripple effect throughout the Sinai's economy. Hotels stand empty, restaurants are deserted, and local businesses struggle to survive. The loss of tourism revenue has deprived the region of a crucial source of income, exacerbating unemployment and pushing many families into poverty. The Egyptian government, already grappling with a struggling economy, faces the daunting task of reviving the Sinai's tourism industry while simultaneously addressing the root causes of instability. This requires a multi-pronged approach that includes investing in security, creating economic opportunities for local communities, and addressing the grievances of marginalized groups. The economic cost of conflict in the Sinai extends beyond the immediate impact on tourism. The ongoing instability discourages foreign investment, hinders economic development, and diverts scarce resources away from essential services like healthcare and education. Addressing the root causes of conflict and creating a more stable and secure environment is essential for unlocking the Sinai's economic potential and improving the lives of its people. Section 6. A powder keg. The risk of regional escalation. The volatile situation surrounding the Philadelphi route has the potential to escalate rapidly, with potentially disastrous consequences for the entire region. The presence of multiple armed actors, including the Israeli military, Hamas, Egyptian security forces, and various militant groups, creates a tinderbox-like atmosphere where even a minor incident could ignite a wider conflagration. The risk of miscalculation or unintended escalation is high. A border clash, a terrorist attack, or even a simple misunderstanding could quickly spiral out of control, drawing in regional powers and engulfing the entire Middle East in a new cycle of violence. The consequences of such a conflict would be devastating, resulting in widespread death and destruction, destabilizing the region, and sending shockwaves throughout the global economy. The international community must recognize the high stakes involved and work proactively to prevent an escalation of violence. This requires engaging with all parties, fostering dialogue, and encouraging restraint. Failure to do so risks turning the Philadelphi route from a point of contention into a catalyst for a wider regional war. Preventing an escalation of violence in the region surrounding the Philadelphi route is not just a regional imperative, it is a global responsibility.